Welcome to the reality after show coverage of House of Villains season 2. We're talking premiere week, not one, but 2 episodes. I'm Jonny Fairplay, joined, of course, by my favorite reality television expert and former Apprentice member. So that means she knows Omarosa, who is not on this season and probably will not be on this season, Jenn Hoffman.
Hello, I'm so happy to be back doing this. I had so much fun covering House of Villains last time, covering you on it. The show is an absolute favorite. Love how they break the fourth wall, make fun of themselves. So I'm like super stoked. This is like exciting and my favorite.
I feel like there was less fourth wall stuff on the first 2 episodes. Did you walk away feeling the
I
same thing?
I think they were going. It was strange because with yours, it was solidly fourth wall stuff, but they were going in and out of it. So they were obviously showing it with the cars, like when they're saying, like, "Okay, step out of the car and do
Yeah.
this," and then with Janice Dickens' earpiece, which we can get into all that. But they were bouncing back and forth between as much camp as they had in your season, which is what made it so delightful, to maybe a little less camp for now, which I'm like, no, more. Like, I want more of the show making fun of itself and being self-referential, because that's what, besides the characters being villains, makes House of Villains villains. It's
Yeah,
self-aware.
I think as far as the campiness is concerned, we're gonna steer more into that post episode 2. Rumor and innuendo, the theme for this season is high school. And so there's going to be a lot more costuming. Like, we saw the prison outfits, and that, I guess, maybe if you were arrested in high school, that goes with it. I don't know. We did get a lot some of these people's backgrounds,
That
but I
was
feel,
so funny though, because when they introduced, they were like, "Oh, you were in jail, tax evasion, me too, tax evasion," between Teresa and Richard Hatch, and then you hear Victoria like, "Oh, I've only been to jail, not prison. I was in jail." Like you hear their whole like thing, so I was like, perfect.
yeah. So, but I think a lot more of it's going to be the homage to high school. If you saw the trailer for the season, it's we get Tori Spelling on a future episode, and that's the whole Donna Martin must graduate
Uh,
homage.
I did not see that. That is
Uh,
interesting.
Very excited. I mean, of all the because I guess this year cameo wise they've stepped it up. Rumor and innuendo, and Janice Dickinson was a great start. We'll get there, Tori Spelling, the Donna Martin must graduate, was probably one of my favorite moments as a kid watching television because I
Yes,
was just like, okay, let me get this straight. Donna Martin, like, I,
it's
when I
Donna
was in high
Martin
school,
graduates. Donna Martin graduates.
when I was in high school, there was a rich kid in my advanced English class, and he was dumb as a rock. But he was rich, so he had to be in the advanced class. Like, he should not have been under any circumstance. And like, just to show how dumb this person was, every Thursday we had a 10-question true false quiz, and he sat in the desk behind me, and so we would pass our papers up. He would leave half of his answers blank on true false.
Or true
And
false.
I'm just like,
50-50 shot, dude.
I was like, that's my pitch. I'm just like, he's like, but I didn't know the answer. And I
Yeah.
was like, wow, you are really dumb. Like, I strongly considered taking his SATs for him because he was a golfer and got a full golf scholarship. But he had to get whatever on the SATs, and he was having difficulty doing that.
Oh
And I
gosh.
was like,
You could have gotten paid.
I was like, should I just take this for, just go out of town or whatever? And I'm just like, I could possibly get in trouble. And I'm guessing I could have gotten a lot of trouble, but didn't really overly think that. But I didn't end up doing it. But 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 that's happening as this whole Donna Martin thing. And I was just like, and my buddy, even though he would leave half of his true fault, they still gave him a C because he was a rich kid. And I'm
That's
just like, who's failing Donna Martin? She's a rich kid that lives in Beverly Hills. Just give the girl a C and let her go.
especially because they were at a public school and they rely on donations. Because I can tell you right now, my daughter goes to a public school in New York City, but it's one of the best ones. but it's the one where some of the wealthiest parents who want to make six-figure donations to the elementary through high school go just to have power so their dipshit kids can do anything
Yeah,
and they don't have to pay private school dues plus match those like, people that are here from like China and Dubai making contributions. They don't have to match that. So like I totally get it. Like
yeah.
no kid that has that much money. Actually, maybe then it wasn't as bad. Maybe it was the time. I don't know.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, I'm very much looking forward to the Tori Spelling episode. But let's talk episode one. It's the premiere. Just a broad look at this season, real quick, before we do our analytical breakdown. Uh, season one cast versus season two cast. Where are you at?
This is a rough one because there were some knockout amazing people on season one that I was like, amazing, perfect. And then some people that I didn't, like, even though she ended up winning and from Bad Girls Club and I love her now, I didn't even realize who she was. I was like, who is she? So it's kind of half and half because I'll say on this one, all right, I'll just take a look. I was like, I have no idea who Safari is. Teresa's big, Richard Hatch is big. Um, and then I was like, and Wes, if you're, that fan is big. And yeah, I think your cast was more all started. Bringing Back New York was a good look. I'm
Yeah.
looking at the cast list and I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't even really consider that because your cast to me had the 90 Day Fiance two chicks are two like kind of randos to me, but you guys
Yeah.
seem to have bigger stars, I think.
So it's funny because like when I went in on season one, and and you have a show like Survivor, which is the ultimate reality show, truth, looking at numbers and and impact and everything else, and I go in on Survivor, and then you have, which are by definition based on ratings and viewers and all that, lesser shows. They're all in this universe, and uh the Bad Girls Club people all know the Love and Hip Hop people, and I've
Right.
never seen an episode of Love and Hip Hop, but
Me neither.
but it's just, they're all, and the Real Housewives, they're all in this similar universe, and they're just like, this is reality television. And then you have the guy that's on, it's just like, hey, I had 36 million viewers on my finale. You didn't get 36 million viewers collectively for your entire season. And they're just like, yeah, never heard of you. And what is Survivor? Like, what happens on
It's
Survivor?
almost more interesting to compare cast members than seasons because it's similar. Like they had some heavy hitters on your season. They had you, they had New York, Jax, because Bravo stars are really big. So they have some heavy
Sure.
hitters on your season. And then on this season, they have a housewives. They have Teresa, they have Richard Hatch. Jesse from Big Brother, I guess you could argue. But everybody else, I know RuPaul's Drag Race does very well, so I shouldn't
Yeah.
discount it. I'm just not as familiar with it. But everybody else, I was like, "Who are you?" And I didn't even know the Bachelor chick. So,
Yeah.
um,
And no one knew who Richard Hatch was.
oh yeah,
like he's
because he's the first one, and like, so you know who did know who everyone was? Who I was like, "Oh, she's super on it." Is Camilla, the Bad Girls Club person, knew who everyone
yeah.
was, knew what their deal. She's sharp as attack and smart, and even though she either looks great for her age, or she has to be older to know who these people are, or she likes to watch old school reality because she knew everything about everyone, old and new.
Yeah. So, but it's crazy that like literally everyone in the house, they're just like, what's your, and and we all know Hatch is either Hatch or Richard Hatch. And
Richard
and
Hatch.
he's sitting there and they're like, hey, what's your name? He's like, Rich. And they're all calling him Rich. And I can there, I'm just like, who is Rich? I have never
Yeah, that's weird because some people are like you can be Jonny Fairplay or Fairplay, there's a million Johnnies, so like everyone knows you're Johnny. You're like one name, like Jonny Fairplay. Richard Hatch is a Richard Hatch. Like you can't
Yeah.
go in there and say I'm Rich, I'm Dick. I'm like, you should be like I'm Richard Hatch because even if they didn't watch it or they're a little young, like he's the famous naked gay, which was unusual then to be that out guy who then went to jail for
First
tax
winner.
first winner, the tax evasion, I mean, he was kept himself in the news even though he didn't want to. Like he's a big deal, but they were like, "You're who?" And then of course the far, I'm just gonna call you rich white guy, I think is why I'm just calling him Rich stuck.
Yeah, that was a little. I felt I kind of felt like that was a little disrespectful,
I
but
do too. I do
I
too.
don't know if that's how it was meant, but it, regardless, let's do the walkthrough. So we start with Teresa from Real Housewives. My fiance, she walks in. I watched the first episode twice, and she came in for the second episode, and she was like, "Oh my god, I know her. She's the best." And I
Yes.
was like, "Okay, well, as far as my reality television barometer, my fiance who doesn't watch any television whatsoever, she's just like that person's famous." I'm like, that person's obviously famous.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Teresa, to I would say, is arguably one of the most famous housewives of all time, just from the table flip
Yeah.
situation. See when she flipped the tables. She's also was on the Celebrity Apprentice. She was on Dancing with the Stars. She also went to prison. Her husband's been to prison. She's like just so notorious. So like, yeah, she is a famous. I like calling people a famous. I think I stole that from BoJack Horseman. She's a famous reality
Okay.
star or not. She is a famous.
So, well, next in we have Hatch or Rich.
Rich, Dick.
He starts with the no clothes gimmick, and they're like, "Hatch, you got to wear clothes." And so he comes. He does a second walk in, and and we, and Teresa was like, I don't kind of out of nowhere, she was like, "Are you a bottom?" And Hatch says yes, and I guess this has been a big secret. And apparently loves poppers. I did
Oh
was
yeah, the
not ready.
Juicy Poppers. I was cracking up at that. I was like, that's
I
so
I
funny.
was not, and this is actually the second popper reference in the House of Villains villain layer. The first was from last season, did not make the final cut. It was when Bobby had his pride party as a reward. We were all dancing. They played actual real music, and so they had the overdub, is what you saw on the show. But we were listening to uh, WAP and a bunch of, and we're all dancing, having fun. And so when they stopped playing the music, Bobby's like, "I'm over it. Let's do a Congo line and go upstairs." And so we're all in a Congo line going upstairs. He's like, "Let's go to my bathroom and do poppers." And Shake
Did
literally
he
did a
really bring
confession.
poppers with him?
What's that?
Did he really bring poppers with him?
Yes.
Oh my,
And
you know what's
Shake,
great? You told me you talked about this, but you didn't say. I don't think we went as far as to they actually were there.
yes, and Shake
What?
literally did a confessional that we thought was great. He was just like every Pride event I've ever gone to, just like every Pride event that's ever happened. A gay guy convinced a bunch of straight guys into doing poppers with them in the bathroom.
Perfect.
And he did the confessional and all that, and then afterwards, like asking for, I'm just like, "So are you guys going to use that?" They're like, "No."
Oh my god, it's so funny because
Absolutely.
they're not illegal, but I guess it's like illegal, irresponsible use of them. So
Sure. So yeah, it was a weird night. So yes, the
sounds
second Poppers reference. So the fact that this made it on in the first 2 minutes of the show, I was just like, wow, they're kind of pushing the envelope, season two. So next we have Safari, who I guess dated or was engaged. Anyway, he was with Nicki Minaj.
yes.
And so I'm guessing that's his claim to fame. That's not a bad one. I mean, some people are famous, like Kevin Federline, is
That's
famous by relationship and not, based on any talent whatsoever.
people still even know who Kevin Federline is, and he's a K-Fed. But I'm like, Safari was engaged to Nicki Minaj and on Love and Hip Hop, and I still had no idea who this gentleman was. I was like,
Yeah.
sir, who are you? However, I like how he's getting increasingly bitchier. So I hope he turns that up a little. He goes back and forth between seeming like boring and clueless, and like he doesn't know how to be there, and then every once in a while being like outrageously interesting or bitchy. So we'll see what happens with
He's
that.
like low key Bobby Lights, low
Yeah,
key
like
straight Bobby Lights.
yeah, like with the fur coat and with the like, at anywhere it might pop off, but then also seems like quite like your quiet little friend, like you're just not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, all right. Next we have
Except he's
Camilla.
straight.
What's that?
I said except Safari's straight, allegedly.
Allegedly. So, hey, who's to say? So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel Nicki Minaj. I mean, unless you're looking for a Minaj. I
Well,
think
now that we know about the whole world of hip hop, we don't know.
oh, there is there could be a
Have
Diddy
you, have you
influence.
not
You are
heard of a
correct.
certain gentleman named P. Diddy
Yes,
and
sorry.
every person surrounding him in hip hop?
Yeah. So yeah, that list grows daily. All right.
Yeah.
We have Camilla from the Bad Girls Club. As you mentioned, knows everyone, so this could be good for her. Jesse Goddard's. He likes to flex his pecs in most every opportune time available. We will be having Jesse here on the podcast. We'll be interviewing him Monday at 3 p.m. I'd like to thank the great folks at E and NBCU for supplying guests every week for us to do a quick chat on Mondays, talking about the previous week's episode and the upcoming episode. So,
Fun. I
yes.
have questions for him. And
Oh,
we'll see if we can get him to take his shirt off. And not because I'm even like, woo, like I'm like super Jack Muscly, guys. I'm almost like I'm like, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
so I used to be Jesse's manager in professional wrestling. We worked in Winnipeg for this promotion,
Really?
WFX Wrestling, and we filmed 2011 from February until November. We filmed every 3 weeks, and it was crazy because Jesse's just jacked, but he's 100% natural. He doesn't do any steroids, doesn't do human growth hormone and all that, and enters drug-free competitions in which he's one of the biggest guys, because like the other bodybuilders, they do the ones where they don't test and and they're massive, and so but the other wrestlers are just like, dude, like what are you on, like what are you cycling? And he's like, I'm not. They're like, all right, if you're not going to tell me, fine. And he's just like, I literally, like, he was
He's
like,
like,
these are the competitions I enter because I don't do that.
yeah. He's like, I just eat like 2 cartons of eggs a day and work out,
Oh,
basically.
oh yeah, no, and well, he doesn't like some people's cooking. We'll get
Oh
there.
yeah, I'll get there. That's so
So,
funny.
yeah, I thought he would have eaten like four plates of her food, but apparently it wasn't good. All right.
Mm.
Next is Candy Muse, RuPaul's Drag Race, big character in the world of RuPaul's Drag Race. Get ready, folks. We have a RuPaul's Drag Race podcast coming for the next season, and you will
Okay.
not believe who's hosting it unless I tell you now, and it's King George from Australian Survivor, because that is his favorite show. It is not Survivor.
Really?
Yes. So,
I would not have guessed that. That's so funny. I did not realize how big RuPaul's Drag Race is.
oh yeah,
It's like
huge.
I know it's crazy. I watched like the first season, I think, and then fell off and didn't realize it's like still going way strong, like rabid
Yeah.
fan base.
Do you remember that HBO show Real Sex?
Yeah.
So this is back in the I want to say late 80s, early 90s, and there was a drag queen episode, and RuPaul was one of the main interviewees
Oh,
on that Real Sex, and that was literally RuPaul's introduction to the world.
oh, wow. And then after
So,
that, he had that "We're a Cover Girl" song. I wonder if that's what
yep,
did it. I mean, I was like I was in elementary school then, but I was unsupervised with HBO, so of course I watched
sure.
Real Sex.
Same,
So
same.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, just imagine, a 13-year-old Jonny Fairplay and something called Real Sex is on television. I'm just like,
and there's
oh,
no internet really, so yeah.
this is going to be a really fun night.
The best part of Real Sex was that half the episodes, or at least 75%, were like not people that you'd be considered conventionally attractive or sexy,
Sure.
involved in those things. So it made it like more riveting, but also you didn't get what you thought you were gonna get. Like,
Oh yeah,
ooh, like
yeah, oh,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Some nights did not work out as well as others
yeah.
for, for a 13-year-old Jonny Fairplay.
Yeah. They're like, when we're going to the naked women's commune and it's like everybody there is like over 60 or like, which doesn't mean you can't be hot over 60. Like, look, I'm getting up there in age. But like when you're looking at that as like going through puberty, probably like a boner every 5 minutes
Sure.
boy,
Yeah.
real sex probably was like not what you were not what you were
Yeah.
looking for.
Not every episode, definitely. So and 60 in 1980 is a lot different than 60 in 2024.
That is very true because I mean, like right now, after I hit 40, I would have looked like I was 60, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Yes, it's very
Yeah,
true.
like the Golden Girls were all like 40, and like you look back and you're just like, weren't the Golden Girls like 70, and then there was one that was 90?
Um, yeah, that's what they were playing, but so the new Sex in the City, all of them were older or the same age as the Golden Girls in the reprise of Sex in the City. So look
Wow.
at what they look like compared to the Golden Girls. It's like, yeah, we all do look completely different.
Yeah, it's nuts. So next is Victoria. She has new boobs, so that's nice.
$60,000, $16,000 on care credit. I love that little note.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that was great.
Next is Larissa from 90 Day Fiance. She's had her nose done, she's had her BBL, and she's had her boobs done twice. Friendly advice, Larissa. I probably would have skipped the second appointment.
Yeah,
It's a
those are
lot.
not. Those aren't even boobs. Those aren't attract. Those are like a carnival attraction. I'm not even trying to be mean. It goes to
I
pass from
know.
sexual to like not. Those are not sexual things anymore. They're like toy, inflatable, like you know, carnival
Yeah,
games.
they're carnival.
Yeah, carnival.
So
Totally. Yeah.
yeah. So no, I mean I think she's an attractive girl, and it's just like I mean I'm guessing she had like a Groupon, or like like you could get boobs, but
She
you could
had
come
Tracy
back with
everywhere. You could tell because her lips are done, but they're done in the way that like it really. I'm not being mean. It's like you
yeah,
can tell that she loves getting work done. She's one of those people that really likes it. And a lot of the time that comes from like a weird perfectionism type thing or pressure type thing, and she thinks more is better.
yeah,
To the point where it's like everything doesn't look good. I'm trying to be nice about it because I
sure.
have nothing against plastic surgery. I have fake boobs, like it's fine. Um, but hers are like, but
It's
her
a
face
lot.
is that way too. If you look, her face is that way too. Because I've
Yeah.
had my lips done. It's out now. I can tell it's out when my upper lip is like that. But like there's a way to do it, and then there's a way where it's like your lips are like this, and hers are like that, and her nose too. Like everything is done.
The lips look like remember the wax lips you'd get at the convenience
Yes.
store,
Yeah.
like the
Like a little
vampire wax
stick in
lips
your mouth
that
or
tasted
whatever.
horrible, but you would chew on them anyway.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So
And the
all right, but
extensions, it's her extension. I know we'll move on from her too, but like her extensions too. I think she just is like everything that could possibly exist more.
more. Yeah. So, but hey, Larissa, we don't dislike you, but
I
there's
have
a
no
lot
problem with
going
that.
on. There's a lot of ingredients.
Yes.
It's like a salad with like 20 ingredients, and you're just like, you know what? A good 5 ingredient salad's a good salad.
Yeah. She
Sometimes 20 is a
I
lot.
get that's her
So,
thing though. Some people get that like the plastic surgery like
yeah.
addiction thing and it becomes their thing and all right.
But she does remind us that she's mostly natural. And
I'm like,
I'm
damn.
like, well, what the human body is mostly water. So I feel like if that's the case, then sure.
Yeah, maybe she figured out like technically because her skin is still her skin. She's not like wearing
Yeah.
someone else's meat suit that like
Yeah.
she still has her
So yeah,
hands and original hands and feet or something. I don't know, her legs.
I don't know. I don't know. All right. Next is Wes. And if you like Johnny Bananas, they're very comparable.
I didn't realize the stress. So I remember Wes from Real World and
Sure.
then
Same.
some of the earlier challenges and then didn't realize how like diabolical and smart and like maybe how he's matured. So I kind of fell off from watching it for a while. So I was really surprised at that. It was like very bananas-esque in like planning everything, gonna be able to win everything, also getting in there to manipulate and kind of talk to everyone. And I was like, oh shit, Wes. Is he
Yeah.
doing
So,
too much though? We can get to that.
I met Wes back in the day. I don't I feel like I was doing like a club appearance or something. I think I did a club appearance in Chicago and ended up staying a couple extra days. And I went to, I think it was a Brad event, Brad from the Challenge, who
Okay.
has the huge beard now, and it's a bit much. It's just like COVID's over, let's relax. But anyway, Wes was there, and I was not a fan of Wes on the show, and extremely charming, very nice. One of the nicest first time meeting another reality star person that I've met, and I was just like, wow, it's one of those you never know, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's also even on House of Villains, even though he is like trying to villainously pull all the strings, and I will say is the one who understands strategy and would have the best ability. And we can get into whether he's doing too much or not, or it's going to work in his favor. But
Yeah,
like, I'll tell you, on the real world, I couldn't. I just did not like Wes. Like, I was like, stop.
yeah,
Every time he talked, every time he did everything on the
yeah.
challenge, I wasn't super into him. But
Same.
but he's like so much more charming on the show. So I could totally imagine what you're saying. Because now when he's sitting down and talking to people, he's besides his strategic charm, he also just seems kind of like easy to chill with. So I was like, oh, that's surprising.
Yeah. So no. Wes's look, on the other hand, he's been rocking this look for a couple years now. He who's what's it, Yukon John or whatever? It was the guy from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is what.
Oh my god, it's just it's like the ginger beardish kind of beard. Like I don't.
It's not a good look.
Wes is a should be a less is more person too. Like keep the hair cropped, don't have facial hair, like
Yeah.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So no, it's like yeah. All right. Anyway, and finally, there are 9 people in the house, so that means there must be a 10th. And ding dong, the bitch is back, New York. Now,
Yes.
when I first saw this, as well as the rest of the House of Villains season 1 cast, we have a group chat, and we're just like, really?
Mhm.
Like we voted her out. We voted her out in quick order. She never really left her room. We didn't feel as though she really enjoyed the process, and we're just like, oh wow, this is odd.
Okay.
However, if you looked at any of the social media, the Reddits and all that, like the second she was gone, I'm never watching this show again. You people are stupid. Why would you get New York as queen? She's the queen of the meme. Blah blah blah. I get why they brought her back. We're all just shocked that she said yes. So
I mean, maybe she thought that money's got to come from somewhere. So who knows what happened?
yeah. So, but yeah, she socially she doesn't love the whole group thing in real life. That's
Hmm.
not her jam. And so when you would see her in her room, she would come down and just attack and just spit the meanest stuff you've ever heard in your entire life, and then she'd go back to her room. It wasn't because it's just like I'm just gonna. It's because she doesn't like the whole group thing, and she was
Yeah.
just like, all right, I've got to get my TV time. This is how I'm gonna do it, and this is my target.
Yeah, she's being totally different on this season. She's
Yeah.
being friendlier. They're saying that she's such a sweetheart in real life. And um, who are the two? Who's pretending not to know her?
Wes
Uh,
Wes Wes is pretending not to know her.
you say that she's a sweetheart
They
in
had
real
just
life.
finished filming America's Worst Cooks in New York.
Right.
New York and Corinne were on there together, so
Yes.
they were actually I think they were roommates on America's Worst Cooks as well.
Yes. I'm looking at my notes about that. Yeah. That's interesting too. That's two people that now, like you're saying that he's a sweetheart in real life, and he was saying that she was such a sweetheart in real life. So I don't know. Maybe New York is maybe she's like just feeling nicer and friendly because she on this season she's not attacking, she's being nice to people. She was hearing out, right before she like hates Larissa, but was like, listening to her, hearing her out on the couch.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she had quote unquote friends on season one.
Mm,
And so, like her and Corinne became friends by necessity, being roommates. And then of course doing America's Worst Cooks, then they really like Corinne was saying is just like we really hung out and really, took our friendship to the next level, And so I think with, knowing Safari and then knowing Wes, I feel like that's allowing her to let her guard down and just more of the social interaction, which is shockingly just difficult for her.
yeah, she's more comfortable. I mean, I could see that though, because the way she started out was, on a dating show for Flavor Flav with a bunch of other people who just wanted to fight and then became that person. So every
Yeah,
time she enters a room or participates in anything, she's that person. She isn't part of the group. It's like that pitted competition. I'm here just to like cuss you out and tell you what's what, and that I'm the queen, and you know which you definitely you noticed that on your season, Alice of Villains, that she really wasn't really getting along with people and like seemed like agitated by everything, like ugh. But she
yeah.
seems like maybe she's like just took like a Valium or something. Like maybe it's as simple as that.
Maybe. So and she so the people that did that produce House of Villains, they're the same people that did Flavor of Love and I Love Money and all those shows. So and they were saying that back when they did I Love New York and stuff like that, she was treated differently. Like she was given her own room. She would come in and do the things and all that. And they told her going into House of Villains is just like you don't get your own room. You don't you know you and I think I think that was difficult and especially just different for her.
It's humbling, it's because she started off being a contestant for Flava Flav, but then she had I Love New York, and when you get your own show back in the day when VH1 is huge, everyone watches
Yeah,
it, everyone knows who you are, to then have to go into a place where like you're kind of everybody else and not getting catered to, and your name's
yeah,
not on the marquee and you're not the star, is I could see that being humbling for sure.
yeah. And you come in and you're just like, okay, I'm New York. I'm obviously the most famous person here, and it's just like, well, Omarosa's here,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. Next. New York would like her room back. The gingerbread room has been painted. A lot of rooms have been painted. We have new themes. I'm not sure I love some of the new decor. We no longer have the sewage room, the space room, and all that. So we have a new paint job. Was it necessary to have a bananas room?
I don't really understand what the deal is with that.
They love. My fiance was just like, look, they're in the bananas business. Well, a lot of people are in the bananas business. I mean, like, bananas literally had a cup of coffee on Traders, and if you looked at any of the promotion, you would have thought that he either won or finished second.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's so strange how he's so much is tied to him. I mean, he's so famous and the producers love him on everything, and like he seems fine
yeah,
to me, but I'm not being like, "Oh, I don't get it." Like I don't like him because he's entertaining. I find him enjoyable, but I don't get it. Like I don't get the whole dedication and the whole I don't get it.
yeah. Well, as far as the production part of it, I consider myself similar in that when you have a Johnny Bananas or a Johnny Fairplay on set, you literally have a producer in the cast. Like we're
Oh,
looking
yeah.
around. If there's nothing happening, me and Bananas are just like, okay, let's do something.
Yeah, you're gonna create. I'm the same way. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right, if there's something going on, you got to create something because it's
yeah,
fun. You'll give them better TV. They like you better. You're giving the audience. You're an entertainer. I always say that. You're like, very much like a PT Barnum, an entertainer. So you're like, all right, let's entertain. Nothing going on.
yeah. And then when we want to break, just sing copywritten material, and you get
Oh,
15
that's
minutes
what
to
we
go
did.
smoke a joint. It's great.
Yep. Yes. Yes.
So, all right. So, New York like her room, and so she sees that Teresa has her $40,000 handbag on the bed, and she was just like, "Oh, I need to get my room. Teresa, let's chat." And she goes, "Teresa, that's my room. That's my bed. I would like it back. I'm taking this. This is mine." And and she was like, so could you please? And Teresa, totally not reading the suggestion being given, she was like, "Will I be your roommate? Yes, we can kick Camilla out." And New York goes, "We could do that."
That was smart. Instead of getting in the fight and having the adversarial thing with that, to be like, oh yeah, like so we're gonna be roommates, like that was smart.
Yeah, but I'm kind of like, of the two options, Teresa or Camilla, to confront or possibly attack, isn't Camilla more low hanging fruit
Well,
versus
I
like
think
you're going to go to the ridiculously more famous Teresa and ask her to move? But I think it's just as simple as that was New York's bed.
and she just wanted it back. Didn't
Yeah,
matter
she
if it was
wanted
still
that bed, like Teresa's purse was on her bed. If Teresa's like if the Teresa's purse was on the other bed in that room, then she would have gone to Camilla.
to Camilla. Yeah,
Yeah,
I knew it was her bed. I though I 100% agree on that. It just happened to have been like another huge star and somebody who kind
yeah,
of knows like the bitchy game and is smart enough to be like, yeah, I'll move beds, but like I'm not gonna move rooms. And
yeah.
also strategically to kind of not get into a fight. I feel like Teresa could have reacted to that like, well, I'm not moving. I was there, but instead it was a
Well, I
smart move.
don't. I think Teresa thought the pitch was, "Hey, do you want to be roommates and kick Camilla out?" And that was
Oh,
not the pitch that New York was making whatsoever, because she was just like,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, that's a great idea. We can get rid of her." And she's like, "Oh, that? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's better than what I was literally saying for 4 minutes."
yeah, yeah. You know what was probably confusing is that New York went up to her and like mentioned that it was like a really expensive bag and this, so it almost seemed like complimentary, even though she was like, "Get the fuck out." It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. She goes, like, I think Teresa's trying to process it. And she was like, well, she started with a compliment about my bag. So obviously she wants to be my friend and apparently wants to be my roommate, is all I'm getting from this, because
yeah,
New York isn't just directly saying, "Hey, I want you out," but New York is directly saying, "I want you out."
yeah, but nicer than I've ever really heard New York say anything. So
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
that was
well, guess what? Camilla is out, but only on the agreement that that New York will save her, and New York says yes, gives her a hug, rolls her eyes, and does not care anything about Camilla, and will not save her ever.
I can't even imagine believing that. Like being like, sure, I'll move as long as you save me on any competition show, let alone House of Villains.
Well, I think she wanted to believe it. I don't think she did. I think she convinced herself to believe it.
Yeah, she's also proving to be very smart and savvy
Yeah.
and really understanding what's going on around her and continually showing to like agree with people and be like, sure, I'll do this and sure, okay, I agree. And then to camera being like, no, like I don't trust that
Yeah.
person. So, Camilla is I think she's just keeping a target off her back, but she is playing the game well and smart.
All right. Well, next is Evie, or the voice of the house. It starts as Anna Delvey once again, but peek behind the curtain. When we filmed season one, Anna Delvey agreed to be the voice of the house. However, we had Katie Gallagher from Survivor, who's also a producer on The Challenge and a producer here at House of Villains. Katie Gallagher would do the Anna Delvey voice.
Oh, that's so
And
funny.
so the gimmick was, since Anna Delvey was on house arrest, couldn't leave to, with, she didn't have the ankle bracelet, ankle monitor yet. So basically the gimmick was, we filmed the show, and then once we were done filming, they were going to go to Anna Delvey, and they're like, "Here's the lines we need you to say," and then put them in post. So we filmed the show. It's Anna Delvey we're talking to, but when we had to go and post to do our confessionals, we had to re-say Evie instead of Anna.
I didn't even know
And
that. So they ended up having to be like, this is like an automatic voice, whatever, because
yeah,
Anna
no,
Delvey.
it was supposed to be on a, and so basically we finished filming. They go to Anna Delvey, and they're just like, "Hey, we need to, it's time to record." And she goes, "Oh, I need more money."
Ugh,
And they're like, "Well, you've already agreed." And she's like, "Well, I'm not doing it."
oh my
And
goodness.
they're like, "We have a contract." And she was like, "I don't care. It's stupid."
I don't care. Contracts are stupid.
So anyway, so that's why we got Evie, and then we had to go back and say, hey, and, it was like, bananas, change your clothes, you look poor, and it was like, all right, Evie, and he's literally saying Anna, but we had in post
Oh.
we had to do the Evie.
Wow, that's so dumb on her part. She's living on like a six-floor walk-up on the Lower East Side. Six-floor walk-ups on the Lower East Side have no amenities and rats. So I don't know why
Yeah.
she wouldn't do it and take the money.
Well,
Weird.
she just wanted more money. She was just being stingy or greedy. She was being greedy. So we start with Evie's voice. It's on a Delvey, and then she coughs, and she was like, "Oh, this is actually my voice. That's Katie Gallagher's voice."
Oh, so they
I'm
stuck
like,
with
"How
it.
cool is this? Katie
Yeah.
Gallagher gets to be Katie Gallagher, but not say her name is Katie Gallagher."
Yeah, that's very cool. That what a like
So
happy accident for her.
yeah, so for those of you that watched Old School Survivor, that's who Evie is. I may be completely wrong, and there's another producer that sounds like Katie, but I'm just like, that's Katie.
Okay. For
So
now, we'll just decide that's Katie until
yeah,
unless somebody in the comment section wants to be a super sleuth and find out and let us know.
yeah. And Katie is so awesome. Bananas was telling me this. I didn't catch it. So Katie's always in the room watching all the cameras. And she's on watching the big camera board with with all the monitors or whatever. And like basically, she talks to people by way of the Bananas was just like he goes, Katie's down there right now, and I was like, how do you know? He goes, watch. He was like, Katie, are you in the room right now? And with the camera, she would do the
Like
make it go
nodding.
up and down for yes, and it's just like
Okay.
I'm like you're lying, and then she do the no. I
Oh
was
my
like, oh my
god.
god, Katie Gallagher is the best.
That's hilarious. Love that. That is
Yes,
a funny little like behind the scenes tidbit. The Anna Delvey, that's amazing too. I like want to pitch somebody to write that story. And
yeah.
we have an attorney in comments. I probably can get in touch with her to do something.
Oh,
Hmm.
there you go.
Yeah.
So she's available. So it's Joel's big entrance, and it's the big trash can. Did you catch who was the first person pulling the trash can? It is the Gary Busey doctor that was aiding and abetting Omarosa last season.
Wait, was that the one who was the not a doctor?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my, I didn't even notice that. That's so funny. I'm surprised I didn't catch that because that was absolutely one of my favorite moments is when she said the doctor said, and then they did that not a doctor. Like,
Yes. So he is a trash can puller, and he had like a miner's rig. I don't know. That guy. I mean, there were so many challenges because whenever I would go with Omarosa anywhere, we had to bring her doctor. And
that's so funny. I would love if they made him like a different type of like almost like an Easter egg. Like he's a
yeah,
miner in this, he's a landscaper in this, because like
sure.
he was the doctor in the first one, so now he has to have a fake job like on every episode. That would be amazing.
So well, when he would go on rewards with us, like Omarosa, didn't need him, didn't care, and so he was just there. And so he would come to me, and he was just like, "Hey, I got some crazy stories." And just look for. I'm just like, can someone help me? The not a doctor is is talking to me, and he's very weird.
Somebody retrieve the random production person in charge of Omarosa and help me, please.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. So the trash can entrance was it was fine. So I guess it was an homage to Victoria's deal on The Bachelor, and they're good at homages. But Joel does have a line here that I think is the greatest line in the history of reality television. You assholes are the only reason anyone is watching, and referring to bad guys on reality television.
It's true, and that's awesome, and I'm glad he said it, and I'm glad that should be, they should actually have that. Like, as like a tagline, like on their thing, like these, I know they won't write assholes, but these like AS asterisk holes are
Yeah.
the only reason you watch reality television.
Well, I mean,
They
look
should.
look at Survivor season 47. Like, the new era, I think has not been loved. So I think there has been some like in there and some dislike in there. But fast forward to this season, we have Rome, Teeny, the guy that was voted out this week. We have people literally saying, I'm a villain. I want to be a villain. I want to play like a villain. Next week, Gabe is like, I'm just here to destroy people's survivor dreams.
It's back.
Why is everyone loving season 47? Because we got bad guys.
Yeah. I think people are tired of that. There was like that pivot to like, you can't lie, you can't be bad on TV, be kind, like just this weird bullshit. Like, I don't know what it was happening on Big Brother too. It was happening on a bunch of the shows, and I'm glad to see it gone because then it just gets boring.
Yeah. I'd like to give Kill Tony credit. I think Kill Tony is
Kill
bringing the
Tony,
world
absolutely.
back to normalcy.
Yes, Kill Tony is the absolute shit. And I did. Oh, wait, I talked about this on the Reality Queens.
Oh,
So we were talking about the acceptance of being an asshole now, saying things, not being afraid of being PC. We were talking about the resurgence of like being real and not being afraid. And I completely brought up Kill Tony. It's on one of our episodes of that, and rabbit holed and fangirled about Kill Tony for a while because I was like, no, if you want to get it, like get the culture right now and how it's pivoting and shifting. This is like the number one podcast, and he's selling out shows and creating a whole universe of comedians. See, I'm going on
sure.
crazy again. I love Kill Tony.
Yeah, it's great. So they are competing once again for $200,000, which Joel informs us is 27,000 after taxes. But a few of the people don't have to worry about that, so they will get they will keep the entire 200,000 because
Who
they
pays
don't pay
taxes?
taxes. Yeah,
Yeah.
they pay tax. So let's see. Okay, well, it's a prison battle royale, and it's called Crimes Against Reality,
Mm-hmm.
and it is two teams of five, and is based on your either white or black prison number, and you have to go through five different levels of prison, each of which are different to get to the next level. However, at any time there is an fu lever, which if you pull it, you are safe for the from elimination, and but your team of five are penalized 1 minute of inactivity. And don't worry, no one's going to pull the lever. Oh, that's right. New York is absolutely positively pulling the lever, because this is why New York is great. This is why New York is a queen, and this is the reason, the New Yorks of the world keep coming back. This is the reason the Johnny Bananas of the world keep coming back. That is an instrument put into the game for to use. Like
Yes.
Johnny Bananas, when he took the money from Sarah at the end of the challenge, he's sitting
Right.
there going, okay, the right thing to do is split the money. However, this instrument is introduced to be used. This is good television. This is why it's there. And this is why they cast me to use this. And this is why they will cast me again, because I understand the assignment.
Yes. Recognizing
So
that is the
was New York safe? Did New York have zero chance of going home? Sure, but New York pulling that lever is a moment.
yes. It's a moment. It makes her more relevant on the show. It solidifies her place as a villain. It gives her more incentive for people to put her back on more shows. Like she's back again for a reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
So,
absolutely
but
right.
but for anyone who's just like, oh my god, that made no sense. She wasn't going anywhere. Great, she understood that too, but she
Yeah.
also understood that they're making a television show.
Yes.
So that lever was not there to not be used.
It's like how you were saying you and Bananas are there producing if there's nothing to do. It's if you're going to be a reality star, not just a reality contestant or
Yeah.
participant, You have to realize when those moments are offered to you and that they're offered for a reason, and it is to give you stardom and to make the show better.
Yeah. So no, and for everyone, I mean, like, I'm friends with Sarah. I like Sarah. Do I think that's pretty shitty what Bananas did? Yes. However, like that, the the goal was not, what's fair and right. The goal was, we're making a TV show. What's going to be one of the biggest moments in the history of the show?
Yes, and bring more viewers and make him relevant again, because I honestly completely forgot about that show. I used to be super into it and forgot about it. Then there was news about, I can't believe this guy did this, and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, that show's still on, Bananas is still around, and it became relevant again. Like, he made a show relevant again by making that move.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the final way to get out of, or the way to get out of the final prison cell is to type in the code. How do you find the code? Well, if you're Jesse Goddard, you go all the way back to the beginning of the challenge and look all around everywhere, or you look on that chest that you flex by the second, and that is your number. That was the code, Jesse. So, yes. So, well,
Wait, I didn't understand something. Wes was like, oh, there's a black light, it has to do with that.
yeah.
Was that true, or was that just a guess?
I think that I didn't go back and watch that part. My guess is he said that and it wasn't true.
That's because that's what
And
I
that
was
was,
thinking. If it was
yeah,
their
but
uniform,
yeah. So, but I didn't go back. I was just, I'm like, I'm good. So,
I was like
so, but,
arguing with the people that were upset with. I was like almost like arguing with the TV, because I was like,
yeah.
Wes very like loudly says something about a black light or something, and he's on the other team, right? So he says
Yeah.
that, which could lead Jesse to think, oh, there must be an object or a clue, and like not assume. So like, there's a reason why he walks back through the rooms, but it just ends up being dumb because it's his own number.
Yeah. So no, but I think that was sabotage on Wes's part, and of all the people to fall for it, it was the guy that had it on his chest.
Yeah, because that's why I thought I didn't ever see them find any black light or do anything to. It was like on the mole, how they use the black light. I feel like he thought
Yeah.
of the mole and just yelled that out loud, to
Sure.
screw with them. That's why I was asking, because like it wasn't even true.
Yeah. So, well, the white team wins. They get to choose the supervillain of the week. They choose Safari because they know he has the outfits to pull it off. He gets to pick two people to go on a reward. He chooses Wes and Jesse. People are confused by this because Jesse is literally the reason that their team lost and was on the other team. So why is this happening? It's because there's a bro alliance. Don't worry. Everything is fine. So we're back in the house, and who is sleeping in my bed? Richard Hatch has my bed, and his roommate, Hatch is a survivor. His roommate is Safari from For Love or Hip Hop, and my roommate was Bobby Lights. Like, the synergy. Who can believe it?
Wow, that's like the official Survivor bed, and then the official
For Love or
queen,
Hip Hop bed.
queen who's not a queen, fur
Sure.
coat bed. That's so funny.
Yes. So I was stoked to see that. This is when we have the reveal that Wes did Worst Cooks with New York. No one knows it, but everyone knows about the Safari friendship. So let's keep this on the DL. I was impressed because New York is smart, but she's not quick. Like we saw the conversation with Teresa. It's just like, oh yeah, we can do that. So, but she's not like, so when she saw Wes, the fact that she didn't go, oh my God, we just finished filming America, so for her to catch Wes's lead, hi, I'm Wes, nice to meet you,
Yeah,
and
not
and for New York to be like, oh yeah, nice. Yeah, what is it?
yeah.
Weston? What? Western sizzling? So,
That would have been
so yeah,
amazing if she didn't catch it and was like, "What are you talking about? We just filmed a show together." But that was good.
yeah, that would not have been that would not have worked out for anyone involved. So I don't think that we'll see. So hold on. Oh, so it's time to go on the reward before they leave. Victoria gives Safari a rose because they will have a date later. I don't think Safari cares. And it's all for the reward. It's Jax's bar in Studio City. My good friend Jax Taylor is back. And Wes asked if he's there to explain to them on what not to do. Peek behind the curtain, Jenn Hoffman. So I get a call literally an hour after this is filmed. It's like, I'm on the new season. They just came to my bar. I was
Oh,
like, oh, I was like, who came? He goes, I don't know any of their names. I was like, okay.
really
And
might not.
he goes, it was 3 guys, no one drinks and no one smokes weed.
That's all he knew about it. That's. I mean,
So if
I
you
was
look, Jesse Goddard's is drinking a bottle of water, or something
Red
sugar,
Bull. I think
something
he asked for like
sugar
a
free.
diet Red Bull. Yeah, sugar-free Red Bull.
Yes, and then Safari orders I think he orders a bourbon, but if you look, he just holds it up and doesn't drink.
Mm. Wes
So
orders like a margarita or something, but yeah, they didn't
he
seem.
does a fake drink, and then I think Wes just probably had a virgin margarita. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
those 3 don't, and Jax is furious. He's just like, how do you pick the 3 people that don't drink to come to my bar?
yeah,
And they're like, no one in the house drinks.
that's wild. I
So
didn't know.
I'm guessing Victoria and Camilla casually, if I had to guess.
Yeah, well, the Victoria, when Wes is trying to console her, but slash get her drunk and also butter her up, is like, "Oh, go have an Aperol spritz," and then somebody else asked for tequila at some point, so there's like 1 or
Yeah.
2 people that drink, but
Yeah.
that's
So, but Jax
that's
was like,
so
"Why are
progressive.
these the 3 people in my bar?" So I think they're just like pretend, like, order a drink and then
For
and then
alcohol.
do the yeah.
Yeah, order a drink because you're at an actual bar, and we brought you here to make it seem like you guys are having a relaxing time, getting to have some drinks and talk strategy
Yeah.
at Jax's former house of villain. But you
Yeah.
guys are ordering sugar-free Red Bulls and like juice boxes.
Yes. So it's Hatch is talking to Hatch says he's drawn to Camilla. Hatch does not appear thus far, and we're just getting little glimpses. I feel like the house is divided, and Hatch and Camilla drew the short straws.
Why?
Well, he says he's drawn to Camilla, and I'm just like, I feel like Camilla's the only person talking to him. And
Yeah,
we see on the vote, at the end of episode
for
2, like
him, I get the short straw thing, but her, I think, is more strategic in a way. I'm not sure. I feel like there's more to come from her, and she's smart and kind of playing it quiet and takes things in.
yeah, no,
Um,
I'm fine, but I feel like Hatch is definitely on. Hatch does not, for a guy that bases his game on numbers and alliances, I feel that Hatch is short on numbers.
Oh, totally. And you can tell he's getting upset about it because he knows Wes is pulling strings and manipulating. So he outright tries to expose him. He's like, and
Yeah,
he says, he's like, I'm not going to let that guy. He's like, Wes is telling everyone what to do and
yeah,
making the strategy. I don't want to do that. I'm going the other way. Like, he's kind of like
yeah,
desperately trying to assert the alphaness and the control, but
yeah,
no one's listening to him. So,
yeah. No, they're just like, yeah, he's calling the shots, but we don't know how to play, and he seems nicer than you.
yeah. And they're also like, they don't realize who he is, or like, who's this, like, older
Yeah,
dude who we're not sure who he is telling
yeah.
us
And
that.
supposedly he's gonna get naked, and we don't want to see that.
Yeah, yeah.
And apparently showers without closing the door.
Okay.
Bobby
All
Lights
right.
and I always close the door when we shower, not together, but individually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess he just wants us to see more. Maybe it's like his signature thing and they were like, you can't walk around the house naked, although at some point I'm sure they'll have something like that, but like
oh
he's
yeah,
just trying every way to get his signature thing in there. Because
yeah.
he
And the thing,
introduces himself as a gay naked atheist.
yeah, and the big thing with Hatch is like, and if talk to him for 12 seconds. He's a grower, not a shower.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
So apparently on Enthused, there's not a lot to see.
Hmm.
And this has been backed up by many survivors over the years.
Hmm. Maybe it
So,
doesn't matter as much because he's a bottom. I don't know.
I don't. I'm just here to provide information, not to interpret it.
Thank you very much for
So
that information.
yeah. So Wes explains to Safari how reality competition games work, and he has Jesse for backup and muscle, and Jesse can do both because he is muscly and he has been on reality competition gaming before. And he says, and Wes tries to. I think Wes is pretty good at that. Safari sees through it, but Wes is just like, hey, so on reality competition shows like that, it's been a while, because I retired from the challenge. I barely remember. Jesse, so it's you pick the person you want to go home. Jesse, what do they call the other two? And he's like, pawns. Yes, pawns. Yeah, I'm not. It's been so long, and I never really did it often, but. But yes, so he pitches the idea of Victoria, Candy, and Larissa as the three people up for elimination, and Victoria being the true target, Larissa and Candy being the pawns. And Safari's just like, but what if Victoria gets redemption? He's just like, well, we don't we like Larissa and Candy, but we don't love Larissa and Candy. So
Hmm.
Safari appears to be okay with this, but I did love the fact that Safari is aware.
Yeah, gave the interview after, like, all right, yeah, like basically playing a little bit dumber than he is and letting Wes think that he's really, I mean, he probably was to some point educating him, but making him think he's really pulling all these strings. And yeah, that was a fun moment.
So and now we're on to episode 2.
Woohoo.
So yeah, peek behind the curtain. They were the network gave gave House of Villains an additional episode versus last season, which we really could have used that extra episode going to the finale when we had 8 eliminations in 45 minutes on TV. So
Yeah,
just throwing that.
they learned.
So and also it took us 3 episodes to get rid of Jax. So
Did it
there's
really?
that.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Jax goes home at the beginning of episode 3, and I asked, and I was just like, "Was that purposely done?" And they're just like, "Oh yeah, the network's just like you're not getting rid of Jax on the first episode."
Ah, it's too big of a
So
get. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I knew
so
about obviously, like, Bobby having his agenda, needing to leave because he was getting a paycheck, but I didn't
yeah.
realize that they were like, nope, Jax is too big to go home first. I remember he was a
Well,
target. I just didn't know that
yeah,
they had the
and
mandate of.
for and I did everything I could to save. I mean, like I went in, like I decided early on I was going to work with Bananas and Omarosa. Like Omarosa and I have been friends for 20 years, and then Bananas. I wanted to beat the best at the end. So
Yeah.
like I was planning on backstabbing him, but later than he was planning on backstabbing me apparently, and that's fine. So but uh, early on, Jax was like, "Fine, I can go home. I don't care. I don't need blah 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 blah." And then when it's the night before the actual elimination, he was just like, "Hey, I want to stay. Is there any way I could do this?" And so I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Let me talk to Omarosa," and I was just like, "Hey, I'm cool with you and Bananas. However, I feel like Jax is a lot more malleable than Bananas is." And a lot less dangerous than Bananas is. And I think it would be pretty impressive to get rid of Bananas earlier than later. And even though I don't want to, but I still think that would be good TV too. And she's like, I'm down. And so we brought Jax over. I don't think this was shown. I think parts of this was shown, but not and it's definitely not in its entirety. But basically, Jax is Omarosa is just like Fairplay says, you want to work with us, So what do you bring to the table? He was like, I'm down to have an alliance or whatever you guys call it. I'd like to have an alliance with you two. However, when it comes time for like voting and stuff like that, I'm just gonna go all willy nilly and just do whatever I think and not, not do what you guys do collectively.
They're like,
And
that's not how it
Omarosa's like,
works.
Omarosa goes, well, that's all I really need to know. Thank you. Thank you for your time. And then he leaves, and Omarosa's like, why did that just happen?
Yeah,
What was the
like that
purpose
is,
of any of that?
yeah, that's not how it works. And
Yeah.
yeah,
So I was like, I apologize. I did not know that that was his offer. Because there didn't really, I mean, like, what is he giving us?
right. Totally. That's so
Yeah.
strange.
Yes. So, all right. So, episode 2, Candy is safe because of the Jesse and Wes alliance. And we see here that Wes is actually a sociopath and wants to save Victoria. I don't
Yeah.
know. The notes get a little crazier as the moonshine kicked in. So Larissa wants to screw over the others during the redemption. They're not collectively working together. Okay. And Victoria has decided to take this time to flirt with Safari in the bed beside my bed.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Hatch does not like when heterosexual activity is taking place near him.
Possibly. Or I couldn't tell if this was if they were editing it to make it seem like it was hours and hours of them talking and keeping him up, or if it really was like 15 minutes that they, you could edit it in that way that looks like
Oh,
someone
yeah.
was talking for hours. But
Yeah.
yeah, Hatch is not happy about that. And
Oh,
Safari
I
seems
think
like,
if it were 15 minutes or 15 hours, I feel Hatch feels the same. He's
yeah,
just like, look, I'm trying to sleep. This is a conversation that can happen, when you wake up, because I would like to sleep so that I do wake up later, but not now.
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
surprised he didn't yell about that more because he already knows people don't like Victoria and that she's the punching bag and you can say anything to her and no one's going to retaliate against you. So I was a little surprised he
sure.
didn't use that as a opportunity to like throw her out or do something. I mean, that is almost like having the FU button, You have
Yeah,
a girl in your room, you want her to shut up, she's already a target, like wake up
yeah.
and throw your pillow out or something. I don't know.
So, well, don't worry. Hatch is single and ready to mingle.
And on the dating apps, apparently.
Yes, but I don't think this would have worked out better if King George had been on this season with Hatch.
Yeah, because he would
King
have
King King George is he likes guys. I like does any like
what would he like what right I'm like, would he be into Richard Hatch?
I think King George would do it for I think King George would like that on his that notch on his bedpost.
The showman's too, maybe. Yeah.
And then
The bed.
and I think King George wants the TV time.
Oh, yeah. That would be smart move. Yeah, to
So
basically be like, I banged Richard Hatch
yeah.
and had a weird showmance with him. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So and yeah, yep, I think that would work for everyone involved. Uh let's see. Oh, Victoria is broke since OnlyFans.
Oh, yeah. Since she stopped her OnlyFans, she's now broke and she lists all the things she can't pay for. And I'm like, oh my God.
Victoria's great television. Like I'm just like, we cannot let Victoria go.
Yeah, yeah. Everything she says is like she's so open and revealing about everyone else is kind of trying to put on airs. She's like, I'm broke, I can't pay my car insurance, I don't have this, I shut down my OnlyFans, like this is fake, this is like she wears like feelings on her heart on her sleeve. Like she is definitely good television.
Yeah, I don't want her to go anywhere. I think she might be my favorite person on this cast.
Yeah, 'cause I love to hate her. Like I already like,
Oh, see, I don't hate her. I just love her.
I'm so like I think it's because I don't hate her in the way of like, oh, people would look at her and be like, oh, you're whiny, you think you're a princess and hate her for that reason. I'm almost like more frustrated with her because I'm like, stop doing that. Don't do that. Like it's almost like certain cringe things. It's like making me not even hate. Well, I can't explain it. Like there's people that you love to watch because you hate. Like I think Teresa actually is like a real villain. like a
Yeah.
villain, but like I love to watch her because I actually do think deep down she's probably evil. But with Victoria, it's almost like I want to reach through the TV and be like, stop doing that! Like, just
Oh
stop!
wow.
Like, I don't want her to
So
stop talking, but
I'm here for her annoying you. That brings me uh,
it's
happiness.
like she's not annoying me because she's being annoying. She's annoying me because I want her to stay longer, and I feel like she keeps doing things that are going to make her leave. Like, I'm living for her and Larissa's fight. I love that. Like, I like her little
Oh yeah.
crown thing. Like, it's funny. I don't dislike her. I love the shtick. I love her being really her. I think it's like maybe it's that I don't dislike her. I'm just getting annoyed because I want her to stay longer. And she's like basically doing everything possible to sabotage that. So I want to reach to the TV and be like, stop it, stop it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Victoria, since losing OnlyFans, that's okay. There's open arms in the cult of Wes, and so we shall see how this works out. It's time for redemption, and Janice Dickinson shows up. For those of you that don't know, Janice Dickinson was a judge on America's Next Top Model. She was the first ever supermodel, according to Janice Dickinson, and only Janice Dickinson, and or people that believe it. And lastly, she did a show called the Janice Dickinson Modeling Agency, in which JP Calderon from Survivor was on, and also my ex-wife Michelle from America's Next Top Model was on.
Yes.
So,
Interesting.
so yeah.
Um,
So back in the day, when we all used to hang out in LA, you would always see Janice Dickinson at a party.
oh, she was everywhere, everywhere. So
Yep.
I had the both things because I hung out with all my reality brethren, and then I covered things. And even if it was the dumbest event that like you couldn't even get a like reality stars wouldn't even want to go to it.
Yep.
Janice Dickinson, like the cliche of like, they'll show up to the opening of an envelope, Janice
Yep.
Dickinson.
That was
Yes, the
Janice
first
Dickinson back
event
in
I
the
ever
day.
got paid to attend, Janice Dickinson was right walking the red carpet right in front of me. I got paid from some sponsor to go and walk the red carpet and just attend it for them on their behalf. And I didn't even live in LA yet, and she was the first person I saw walking the carpet. And yeah, and she looks the
There you
same age.
go.
Like she's been, you know, 50 for the past like 30 years or something.
Yeah, she's basically mummified her face. So,
Hmm.
and I'm cool with it. So I think she's beautiful. I think she's been beautiful forever. So
Yeah, I'm never talking shit, by the way, when I talk about people's plastic surgery and doing all that stuff.
no,
I'm
I
like,
mean I get Botox. So yeah, we're
yeah,
not we're not casting stones here. So
yeah. I mean, look,
I'm wearing a hat right now because I need to go and get more Botox.
I do too. Look, because like this is bothering me. See those, and you can see that more.
Well,
Yeah,
there we go.
yes.
So checks in the mail. You'll get some soon. All right. So this redemption challenge is the Hollywood Walk of No Shame, and you literally they go to the Walk of Fame in Hollywood, and you have to have people to sign your petition and basically beg people for signatures or not. I didn't like this. If I had been on this redemption challenge, I actually would have refused to have done it. I
Why?
felt it would. I felt it was demeaning
To have to get the signatures from people?
to beg people for saying. I mean, like I felt like Candy worked. I feel like they eventually figured out a way to make it not demeaning. But I
Yeah.
felt initially I was just like, no, this is making fun of us, and I don't like that.
I could see that. I think
I I would have
because
to be talked off the ledge by production.
that made but Larissa going in there and saying that she was going to make up like the fake charity stuff was such a
Yeah,
strong like out of the gate like oh my god like so unethical so but also love that for her and love that for House of
sure.
Villains that I
Yeah,
didn't even think about that about like how I would feel if I had to like run around being like pick me sign this for me because I was so like oh my god yes when she said she was going to do the fake charities I was so into it and then obviously immediately people started recognizing Candy and I felt bad at first felt bad for poor Victoria, who seemed like she was just like not getting anything. But turns out Larissa is the one who epically fails at it with her.
yeah.
She can't keep her fake charity straight.
Yes,
And she's
yes.
not
So
smart enough to explain the cameras. So,
that
people are like, "Oh, this is for TV." She should be like, "Yes, they're filming my cancer charity thing. Like, look at my giant breasts. They've hired me to be the person for breast cancer to get your attention, and we're filming. Just keep the once you've lied, keep lying."
yes, and she was going out. She was coming up to people that didn't speak that appeared to not speak English.
Right.
Versus, like, so you're already against the 8 ball,
Yeah.
like trying to talk to them and
Right. But
then convincing someone that probably doesn't speak English to do something. It's
she
just like,
barely
just,
speaks English too. So you have
well,
this like,
there,
yeah.
there's a barrier. So, but you didn't find this demeaning, or do you find this demeaning in retrospect? But you'll allow it. As I said,
You know what? There's like an apprentice thing, I think, from us having to run around and do stuff like that's akin to like selling lemonade. That I understand why they're getting the signatures because it seems more like pick me, whatever. But I think I have this apprentice mentality of like, what would the strategy be to get the most signature? Like, I wouldn't have even thought of it, even if it was demeaning, because I would have gone into that crazy apprentice mode of like, this is a job. How do I get it? How do I get the most? What do I do? And like a machine win type situation that
yeah.
even if they were demeaning me like the shit out of me, I probably wouldn't have noticed it till like after or something. I'd be like, oh,
See, like the same competition, if it's selling lemonade, like, you each have a lemonade stand. I'm
right,
okay with that. I just felt like I didn't like the begging people for signatures part. As I said, we saw it switch from, like the what I perceived as desperateness to Candy basically doing a guest appearance on and autograph signing and selfie booth. So I was okay with it at the end. I just going, like, as I said, if I had been in that challenge, the production would have had like as easy as I am to work with. I would have been like, I have a problem with this, and it would have taken someone explain to me this.
right.
Look at it this way.
I get it because you know what? It's like it is demeaning because it is the like not just the begging part, but it's like who's the most recognizable of you, who's more popular, who's going to do more something more desperate to get it if people aren't recognizing you, which would become like
Yeah,
really humiliating. And
yeah,
for me, I'm thinking that like I was famous for a while, a period of time where people recognized me, and I'm not anymore, and you still are. So I think I was looking at it almost through the lens of like, like, okay, if I had to do this, but then I'm like, wait a minute, if you're still like a kind of recognizable person and people aren't recognizing you or aren't picking you, that is demeaning and embarrassing to make production make you do that.
yeah. So and we were talking earlier about uh, the audience and the popularity of RuPaul's Drag Race. I mean, case in point, I mean, I felt like Candy got all those signatures because Candy is a recognizable star,
Yes.
whereas Victoria got those signatures because she's just a hot girl. Like, I
Yes.
don't think Bachelor Nation was in full force on the Walk of Fame.
No, and there's been so many. It's not, she was never the Bachelorette. She was just one of the contestants, albeit
Yeah,
the princess who shows up in a carriage and gets
sure.
and is a notorious one. I don't know. Those people on the Walk of Fame are probably not going to initially recognize her. And plus, RuPaul being very popular, on top of it, just being a drag queen, the presence is going to get
Yeah,
attention anyway. Yeah. So
yeah. So
Victoria's
no, if
hot.
you see a drag if you see a drag queen, you're like, wow, you're a spectacle for my eyes. Let me
Yeah.
look at you. And then it's just like, oh my God, you're a famous drag queen, even more spectacular. And so no, I think they're a huge decided advantage. But once again, Victoria, just beautiful girl. It's just like, hey,
Yeah.
look at the hot girl that wants signature. Like,
Yeah.
sure, what
Just
am
a
I signing?
pretty girl asked for something nicely, like, can you just, she'd have to say any, when she was trying to explain things, people were
Yeah,
ignoring her. But then she went, can you come sign this? And just smiled. Like every
yeah.
guy was going up there and just signing it. Yeah.
Sure, and not even looking at what they're signing, just staring at her
Yeah.
$16,000 boobs.
Yes.
Yes. So yes, let's see. Uh, oh, so during this challenge, we see Candy is allowed to show her nipples, but Larissa can't.
Oh, right. Yeah, because it initially comes out with like the nipples straight out, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
why can't we see Larissa's nipples? I feel like this isn't fair.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
I mean,
my 7-year-old just asked me about that, about like why at the beach, why not, whatever, and I was like, you know what, I don't even know why at this point with society,
yeah,
why, like why, I don't know.
yeah. Who's to say? So yeah, Candy won with the every selfie as a signature. I love it. And New York predicted it. And so next we have Rich has a fashion shoot of sorts. And yep. And so
Safari dresses him up.
yes. And New York doesn't know if Safari is the most dangerous. I was like, oh, okay. And so, as discussions going throughout the house, whether it should be Victoria or Larissa, Teresa thinks of Victoria as like one of her daughters. And I was
Mm.
just like, okay, well, this alliance could work. We hadn't got a lot of Teresa, but don't worry, she's here to say, New York and Wes, if you form an alliance on the worst cooks in America, I'm here to make my resume for season 8.
Oh my, that's the best. She's like, I have 3 cookbooks. I'm known for my cooking. I'm gonna win them over with it. And then she makes this giant meal, which I was fully expecting them. It's like I was almost so naive. I was like, it's gonna be great. And
Yeah.
they
So
sit
the
down
the
to eat.
Italian mom is just like, oh my god, it's I can't wait to try her sauce. Her sauce is going to be the best, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh wow, apparently not. So, but I mean, so sometimes we get distracted when we're in the kitchen. So maybe that was just a bad night for Teresa. So, but I
Maybe it
will
was just a
say,
flip
as far
flop.
as as far as the best chefs on House of Villains, Bananas was good.
Mhm.
Bobby Lights is the best chef in the history of House of Villains. So Bobby
What was
Lights would just cook these
Bobby?
amazing meals like all day long. It was
Oh wow.
incredible.
You wouldn't even
So,
think so. I would feel like Bobby would be like Adderall and Ozempic at the same time to like keep the
yeah,
like the twink like thing going on.
yeah. Follow him on Instagram. He likes to cook on Instagram, and he just like very complex dishes.
Huh. Very interesting. I
Yeah,
love that Richard's really trying to get in there and be relevant in his ways, but it didn't. Richard called out like Jesse not eating anything on the plate and Teresa's cooking being crappy, and you have this like awkward moment where no one wants to really address it, but Richard is like waiting, like yeah, like he wants them to keep going with it and embarrass her, but it's just like dead silence.
yeah. They're just like, yeah, we're not, we're not in on like. As I said, I feel Richard Hatch is a fish out of water here.
Totally. Yes, I
So
think. Well, he was already. You know what was interesting is I remember him being annoying and awkward, and it's kind of like he hasn't changed because even though he won, he still was awkward and annoying, and people didn't really want to listen to him back on Survivor One.
yeah, yeah. It's just the fact that no one else knew how to play, and he
Right.
figured out how to play is the difference. So, but yeah, I don't like. Of course, I'm rooting for my Survivor family member, but I just like on season 1 of House of Villains, like Bananas knew who I was, and Omarosa knew who I was, and like others had heard of me, but as I said, they've never seen an episode of Survivor. They didn't know how Survivor worked. Like Bobby and Tanisha are just like, so what's y'all's alcohol budget per day on Survivor? And we're just like, I'm like, we're just trying to get water, and they're like, why you keep talking about water? Like, what's your alcohol budget? They're like, on our show it's like $10,000. I'm just like, yeah, no. And they're just like, aren't you supposed to be smart? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, but you're not smart enough to do a show that has a bed and gives you alcohol. I'm just like, apparently not.
You're like, no, this is the biggest show. This is like the ultimate, and it's $1 million. The other ones were only giving out like so much less than, you know?
Yeah, and they're just like, yeah, that's still stupid. I'm just like, oh, okay. So, but in spite of that, they're just like, okay, Johnny is figuring shit out. So I feel like it's smarter to work with him than against him. Also, Johnny throughout the day is playing cornhole. We're hanging out poolside. We're telling stories. We're attempting to create fun, and it's just like, okay, well, why don't I hang out with the person that's trying to have fun versus the person that's not trying to have fun? So
Yeah.
whereas Rich, I feel like as they don't know who he is, and they're just like, okay, who's the old guy attempting to get to make these moments, and no one else is playing. I'm just like, so as I said, other than Camilla, I just don't see the connections with Hatch, and it's kind of surprising.
You would think he would know how to do it. And I was thinking back, like, okay, he won the first, the first season, like the greatest, hardest. It's like one of the only ones I would not do. Like, I'd be too scared to do Survivor. I'm not scared to do any of the rest of them. I'll do it. Maybe not the Summit now that I'm looking at it, but like Survivor, I'd be scared. He wins it, but then I was thinking back, and then I remember him being socially awkward then too. So I'm like, he just still is this, and he's significantly older than like half the house, who doesn't even know who he is. He doesn't know how
Sure.
to connect to Teresa. He was married for a bunch of years after being in jail, and kind of like, he just seems like weird. And then he's trying really hard to be relevant or get in there or call things out or have strategy, and he's not wrong about any of the
Yeah,
stuff he says, but
but it's not
nobody
it's not landing.
no, nothing lands.
Yeah. So I mean, like, if I'm Hatch and I go in there, I'm attempting to work with Wes because well, I'm at least pretending to work with Wes because it's another strategist you can work with, and let's use logic versus emotion. So I think he should have made an approach there. Jesse, you do the whole, we're CBS, Survivor, Big Brother, we're related, let's work together. Candy, it's just like, hey, I'm part of the community, here we go, but like, I just see, like, as I said, he's going to Camille, like the scraps, it's just like, hey, I'm Richard Hatch, I'm old, and it's just like, okay, well, I'm nice, I listen to everybody, and I'm just like, oh, this is not the
No, he doesn't get. And what's crazy is that he does, instead of doing which exactly what it is, like, should be strategizing. It's like thinking the way you did. You're like, who are the ballers here? Okay, Bananas and Omarosa. Okay,
yeah,
so I definitely want to be in an alliance with them, and we are just gonna all like murder each other in the end. That's fine, but in the beginning, let me go with the strongest players with strategizing. And
yeah.
Richard thinks the opposite of that and is like, hey, Wes is making plans and strategizing, and I'm gonna tell everyone and try to blow that up and I don't agree, and look what he's doing. And it's like, oh my God, it's like literally the opposite of what you should be doing is that, unless you are relevant or strong enough or have enough numbers where you're like, I want to get rid of Wes because he's that way, and are capable of it. But Richard's
Yeah.
not. So it's like, what are you
No,
doing here?
right now we have Hatch. He's the old man yelling at the sun.
Totally. Like yelling at the cloud. Yeah, totally.
So, when did Hatch become Abe Simpson?
Oh God, yeah, old man yells at cloud.
Great, yeah, great Grandpa Simpson over here. So Hatch, we love you. We're just making observations. So,
Yes, it's also very
but
true. And look, he has this bonding opportunity immediately with Teresa, and she's a little bit older. They both went to jail for tax evasion, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like kind of rooting for him to, like, get something a
yeah.
little with her, and then she's in with New York, and I'm like, okay, like, get it together.
Yeah. So yeah, we're not seeing it, at least not yet. So it's time for NFL talk here on the show. And who loves the Raiders? Larissa does. Guess who hates the Raiders? Victoria.
Oh, I could not believe how upset Larissa got over it. And I did live for Victoria being like, they suck, like, F them, like, that I did love. I was like, oh yes. Every time she
Yeah.
said it.
My
Larissa,
number three pick and two, or either 2 or 3 pick in a couple of my leagues, Devontae Adams. Yeah, Raiders suck. Sorry, Larissa. Not sorry.
I can't believe how crazy she was going over it. Like,
This is this top 5 House of Villain fights ever, and it's about the Raiders, and it's 2 girls.
it is because it's so absurd that
Yeah,
Larissa is going this insane about the Raiders, and that Victoria it's just so satisfying to watch Victoria like just simply be like, they suck. Like just say the smallest little thing and watch
Oh
Larissa
yeah.
go crazy. It's so funny.
Like my fiance, like if I were like the Raiders suck, like my fiance would be like, I don't know, is that like a pirate thing? And I'd be like, no, like the NFL, and she's like, oh, sports ball, okay,
Yeah, sports ball. So I call. I'd be like,
sports ball.
I'd be like, weren't they the LA Raiders? They're in Vegas now. What? Like, I didn't even like. I learned something new yesterday that I guess they're in
Oh, there you
Vegas.
go.
When they said Raiders, I was like, are they still? They're still a team? Like, so yeah, I don't. But
Yes,
Larissa
so they're
really loves them, or she is having sex with someone or multiple people on that team. Allegedly, I didn't say that. Anything I say here is just completely, whatever.
who's to say? I mean,
Who's
it's there's a lot of people on that team.
yeah, there are
So,
many people that maybe that's why she was so emotional. I don't know. I don't.
sure. So, all right. Well, there's strife in the house, and people. So I didn't feel like because we hear that some people say that Victoria's instigating. I didn't. I felt Victoria like I felt this was all on Larissa.
Agree. Completely agree.
So I felt once it escalated to a certain point, I felt like we did get a little bit of poking the bear by
It just because it was
Victoria.
poking. It was poking.
Yeah,
She just sat on the.
yeah,
She was literally like sitting on the floor and just would say one
yeah.
sentence and watch Larissa go insane.
Whereas Larissa's sitting there with gasoline, just pouring it on top of herself.
Yeah, on top
So
of herself and
Victoria's
like
not pouring gasoline.
yeah. Like there's no
Uh,
reason for Larissa to be this angry or upset. And then it's almost like Victoria's not being the aggressor. She's just being like amused and using it and just like being like, yep, they suck. And then just watching this
oh yeah,
person lose their mind. That's not an
yeah. I,
aggressor.
I
That's
I
like,
would be all in. Like I would be poking Victoria to poke.
oh yeah, I
Yeah.
could see that.
Yeah, I'd be like, like it's like, tell her the quarterback sucks.
Yeah.
So, say when's the last time ask when was the last time they were in the playoffs, so but I would be feeding Victoria, but I would allow Victoria to do so I thought it was great. I thought it was fun TV. This is what I'm here for. I love it. So, but it's time to go to the Stronghold in the world's least conspicuous briefcase. Oh my God! I totally forgot. Before the Stronghold, my guy James, my favorite person on House of Villains season 1, the sound guy James. We see
Huge.
James attempting to fix Larissa's shoe like 3 times. Larissa goes back to James for assistance, with her mic, with everything else. But here is a peek behind the curtain with James, and this story warms my heart. So James is the sound guy. We see James so every morning. We would have our phones. We would have our phones in the morning, and then we have to turn our phones. And then we get our phones when we go to bed, and we have to turn them in. We get them at the end of the night, and we turn them in at the beginning of the morning. So and I don't know if they do that on season 2 or not. They, that we might have ruined it for everybody. So, but I mean, like I said, once you went to your room and you agreed not to interact with someone, we were given the ability to conduct our business in our real lives, which I don't think is crazy and whatever. So anyway, so we do that. So every morning I would get up extra early to FaceTime my then girlfriend, now fiance, Jessica. And so, I'd walk around the pool, I'd drink my coffee. And then, as I was about to turn to my phone, I would go get mic'd up. And every morning, James would be like, hey, Jessica, how's it going? So, we talked to James. He's just a sweetheart. So, all right. When I arrived at the House of Villains, I had 3 suitcases. I had bought a brand new Samsonite suitcase set, and so there's the big, medium, small, and so the big one was just my shoes. I brought like 8 pair of Jordan 1s, like that's my signature shoes, and and I even had the big Jordan 1 bedroom shoes and all that. One suitcase is just Jordan 1s, $300 Jordan 1s, $500, 600. Like I just brought my favorite Jordan 1s, hard to find, and all the sneakerheads, online, they're just like, oh my God, you see Fairplay's rocking the Chicago's, Fairplay's rocking the Royals, blah blah blah. So day one, my shoes are obvious. They're all organized in the closet. Like, I have my shoe racks, and Bobby has his Balenciaga boots and all that. So it's a thing.
Yeah.
So around day 2 or 3, I notice all the producers have brand new Jordan 1s, all of them, and they're just like walking like, oh, what? Oh, oh, and I'm no selling it. Like, I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna. And so even they're just like, hey, Fairplay, did you? And I'm like, oh, you got those look new. Looks like you just got them. Like, yeah, no, I think I've had these. I'm like, no, I think the tag's still on there. so everyone up their shoe game because they're trying to, they're doing the job, and I'm loving it. And so James notices this, and he's talking about it, and he goes home and tells his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's like, well, let's get you some new shoes too, James. And so she goes out, she bought him a pair of Skechers.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. It's like,
and
oh,
he, and he
I wear them now, or else it's gonna hurt her feelings.
So the next morning, he's just like, hey, Fairplay. I was like, wow, Skechers, huh? And Jessica goes, ooh, sensible.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh my.
So, bless James and his new Skechers.
That's adorable. It's adorable probably because either he was unaware that Skechers weren't cool, or he's like, oh God, my girlfriend bought these for me, so I better wear them. And that either way,
Oh
it's
no, he
really
was unaware. He was
he was unaware.
he was pretty proud of the new Skechers.
Oh, I love him now forever. I love him.
I do too.
That's adorable.
It
He's
is.
like,
So, James,
like, look at my new shoes. That's amazing.
James is gonna watch this podcast and be like, "Fuck Fairplay," and make him out. We're not making fun. So
No, that's like, I love that. I love that you
yeah.
don't know that and don't actually, that would mean you don't care about it, which kind of makes you cooler than us that we do care about
Yeah.
sneaker brands.
Yeah. So, all right, we're off to the Stronghold, and it has been upgraded. It's now a kinky sex dungeon of some kind. And Joel does the big introduction of the chairs. Here are the chairs, and the chairs don't come. And we try again. Here are the chairs, and they don't come together. They don't come down together. And he was just like, so the chairs are safe, guys. They're literally unresponsive, not together in any way, and yeah. So
They look like car seats now more than ever. They look like giant toddler car seats.
yes. So they
Not
do look
the
a little
S&M part,
safer.
the seat itself. Yeah, they look like
Yeah.
something, that you would put your child in, which for some reason was extra funny to me because the Stronghold looked tougher and more like an S&M dungeon, but meanwhile with a toddler car seat like strapped to the thing,
Sure.
that was for some reason very funny to me.
So it's time for everyone to give their pitch on why to stay. By everyone, I mean Victoria and Larissa. And Victoria, seems like actually seemed a bit much like, she was like, I really want to enjoy more of this experience, like, and I'm like, wow, all right, so good, Hatch has no time for this, but that's fine. He's playing a different game. And then Larissa quotes the Bible.
It was great because it almost would have sounded like it would have been a real Bible verse, but she was not saying
Sure.
it like in proper English. But then they're like, which Bible? And she's like, mine. Like I made my
Yeah.
Bible. Yeah. I'm like,
Yes. Yes. The Larissa Bible. So
and
so the go ahead.
I like becoming upset because I did not really care that much about like I kind of was like wanted Larissa to go home or whatever, but then now I'm so bummed because I want to see her and Victoria fight more. So I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. So, but I think the only reason they fought is because one of them was going to leave. Like if one of them wasn't going to go, I don't think we would have got that interaction.
Like the tensions are high and the emotions are there. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it was a necessary evil, and one of them had to go. And if I have to choose between Victoria or Larissa, I'm choosing Larissa to leave. So the votes are in. It's 5-2. Hatch is dumbfounded. More to come. And that's it. The Larissa goes through the wall because that's what we do, and we end on a cliffhanger because it looks like the wall goes. We have another player, right?
Yes. Yeah, we see a silhouette of something that does not look like a woman, doesn't look like it's her, so somebody's there.
Oh, see, I thought it did look like a girl.
Oh, maybe I just when I looked at it, maybe because I knew it wasn't her because I could tell like the leg looked a little like different. I just kind of thought that looked like a dude, but that was maybe just from real. First, I thought it was going to be like a joke, like it doesn't work and she's coming back. But then I was like, oh, that's not her. So we have somebody new. And then thought maybe it was a guy because they seem like bigger than her, but I don't know.
So I would imagine it's as I said, it was just a split second. I would imagine they're replacing a girl with a girl just to keep the numbers
Yeah, maybe.
even. So, but I mean, this is uh, a mainstay trope for reality television, and House of Villains is above everything else an homage to all the tropes we've seen in reality television.
Yes.
So I'm cool with it.
Yeah, of
So
course.
and this makes a little more sense why we got the extra episode because we're getting an extra person.
Yes. Oh, I love the element of surprise, and I love how it could ruin people's plans or what they thought was going smoothly. And it was like just by having it pop back up with like a new person, like, oh, you thought you were down one? Pop up. No, you're not. Like that was like a really I just thought fun way to almost like a whack-a-mole thing. Like you think you
Yeah.
eliminated someone and someone else is popping back up. I loved it. I was like, that's great.
Yeah, I know. I am excited to see who it is, and we I guess we didn't get a preview for next week because it's just like, hey, sorry,
Yeah,
it's
they there was like a preview-ish type thing, but because they don't want to show whoever else is there, and it wasn't next week's preview. It just was kind of like I think they were just showing random madness scenes or something.
sure, yeah.
I'm watching it. Or am I watching it? I'm watching it on E, not on because you can watch it on like Peacock, E, whatever. So they might have
You
different
can
programs.
watch it on Peacock the same week. I don't know if it's the same day. So I did not watch Wednesday. I assumed that they were going to show Wednesday night's episode before the Thursday night episode, and so yesterday afternoon I was just like, let me just check the guys. So I turned to E, and it's just like House of Villains, Jonny Fairplay. But I was like, whoa, I'm on TV. This is great. And so I guess they had been doing a marathon of season one, and then they showed the replay of the premiere, and then they showed the new episode, and then they showed afterwards. They showed the premiere again, and so it's right now. If you're watching E, it is House of Villains Central. So good stuff. It warms my heart to because I don't think I had. We got the screeners when I watched last season, and so I didn't know I didn't read the episode descriptions. So to go on the cable guide, it's just like uh, uh, Jonny Fairplay has problems with the space room, and I'm like, whoa, wait a second, why didn't someone tell me I had problems with the space room?
Yeah, to like now see the descriptions and see it like archived and up there, and that
Yeah.
you're because your season still pops up. It's like you're right there as
Yeah,
the
and to see my name in pretty much every episode description felt good, versus like, Anfisa's name isn't there.
right,
So,
right. True. Yes.
yeah. So, but
Yeah,
yeah. So I think this is going to be a good season. I'm happy to be talking about it again. And once again, Jen and I will be joined on Monday at some point. We will have Jesse Godders to talk us through the first two episodes and maybe a sneak peek at episode 3. I do not believe he will be telling us who is coming in that chair. So,
yeah.
but yeah, Jen, you have questions for Jesse. I have questions for Jesse. And yeah, I think this is a good start. I was a little worried. The cast is different. It's not this cast, but I'm not upset about it. I love the return of New York. I love the choices thus far. there's, I don't feel like there's a dud. It's just like, oh, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you choose? So I mean, me personally, if I'm doing season 2 and I want to have someone from the challenge, I'm doing the opposite of Johnny Bananas. I'm doing either a Best Stelargic or Amanda, but that's just me. And then season 3, I have a Wes. For the Survivor person, I'm probably going Abby Maria or Corinne or even King George. And
Trying
then
to get
season
Sandra.
3, yeah, season 3, I'm looking at a Richard Hatch.
Right.
So,
Right.
but
Well, I think we went Richard Hatch just thinking it's so funny. It didn't work out that way because nobody remembers who he is. But I think they
yeah,
were trying to get like, they're like, okay, we had like the other most notorious survivor villain, grandma thing, whatever. Well, who else are we going to go to? The first winner who was naked, went to jail. I
yeah,
think that's why they probably went to Richard because they thought he would be like a big deal. And it turns out he's not to these people in this house. I mean, I thought it was
yeah,
cool that they had him, but
yeah, no, no. So yeah, so we, as I said, I love I love the cast. I'm just, for me personally, I don't, when we're watching Wes, I feel like we're watching Johnny Bananas.
yes.
So
Oh, but you know why they had to do that though? Is because they have a housewife, they had New York back, they're doing another 90 Day Fiance, they have a bachelorette, so then it would be like all girls.
yeah,
They have yeah, so it was unless they had gone with a bachelor villain like a Nick Vial or somebody like that, and not had a
sure.
Victoria. I guess they had to balance it out, so that's why you
Well,
get
I'll
a West.
take a Wes if I get a Victoria in exchange versus some bachelor dude that I don't care about, and just to get Best Stelargic. So no,
Yes.
I'm happy. There's no complaints. I'm just I just just wanted to voice my opinion.
Yes. No, no, it makes sense what you were saying, why they would kind of rotate it and do that. But then I was like, oh, wait a minute, they have so many women from
Oh
some of the
yeah,
other shows that it would be like House of like female villains, basically.
yeah. Well, I've never seen an episode of Bad Boys Club, so
I was
there is
just gonna
that.
say it would be like Bad Girls Club, but like bad older women that were once on another reality show club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. So all right, Jen Hoffman, where can everybody find you?
At Instagram and TikTok are at Jenn Hoffman HI, and yeah, that's random writing about things. Google me. I don't
Sure.
know. What did that say? Omarosa. Google me.
Google me. There we go. I'm at Jonny Fairplay, no H and Johnny, on everything except for TikTok. I'm Fairplay Talk, TOK. So yeah, we have all the survivors. We're doing this cameo competition on who's the most who get what survivor can do the most cameos, and apparently there's like 200 and some survivors on Cameo, and I think as of this moment I'm number 6. So
That's awesome.
which is insanity. So everyone go to cameo.com/Jonny Fairplay. Don't forget no H and Johnny, and get yourself a cameo from me because that's crazy. I mean, like I'm ahead of Charlie from last season, who is co-hosting the Jeff Probst CBS Survivor podcast, was just on last season, and he's in 7th place and I'm in 6th. This is
It's
nuts.
because you're an entertainer. You're gonna do something fun,
Oh, okay.
or you're PT Barnum, you're an
Okay.
entertainer, like you are fun to get a cameo from. And maybe this other person could be exciting because he won something or is a host, but do I want it from like somebody who's gonna be like, hello, have a happy birthday, or somebody who, is gonna do something a little wild, maybe, or fun?
Oh, I do a whole shtick. I got mullet Jeff Probst in the corner over here, and then I have a survivor flag, and I have the grandma tombstone they gave me at the House
I
of Villains. So yeah, I do a whole deal.
I
And
would
then if
expect
it's your birthday, I hold up 50 Cent on vinyl, and I do the Go Shorty, it's your birthday. So yeah, it's a whole string of things.
That's why I'm not surprised. You are an entertainer. You think about entertaining. It's entertainment first. So,
Okay.
of course, I'm not surprised at all.
All right, fair enough. So, well, thank you, everybody, and Jen, I'll see you on Monday. We'll see everyone on Monday, and then we'll be back next week after the episode. So, yeah. So until next time, that's Jen Hoffman. I'm Jonny Fairplay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.